Moving on here on the right stand, after a 36-day-long run, Amritpal Singh gave himself up to the Punjab police in the native village of his role model and original Khalistan mascot, Jarnail Singh Bhindranwale. He is currently lodged in the Dibrugarh jail in Assam. And here on the right stand, we decode how Amritpal was not just plotted or propped up by the Pak ISI, but he was also brazenly misled by them. This is the exclusive that we bring to you this evening on the right stand on this man Amritpal. The fact that he was a weakling, we will expose. The fact that he was propped up, a mere puppet, an instrument in the machinations of the ISI, but more importantly, he was misled. A different picture was painted out to him. And as the information will unravel, you will realize the devious methods the enemy is using, and especially with those who are born post 1984 massacre of Sikhs in our country. Let's move on to this. Moving on to the exclusive part, intelligence sources tell Amritpal say that Amritpal was definitely planted after a deliberation to fill in the space of Jarnail Singh Bhindranwale. So there was a desperation amongst those who are orchestrating this Kashmir Khalistan narrative that after Bhindranwale, somebody needs to be propped up in that space. The ISI realized that movement from Canada, UK and Germany was not yielding too much of result. So whatever was happening there in these foreign nations, in this foreign soil, and the disruptions there was not creating any problems or any gains, yielding any gains for the enemy or the ISI. The ISI's plans also failed in Pakistan, Punjab, that's the Pak province of Punjab, and Sikhs also snubbed them outright. And then Pakistan got in touch with some of these K elements or the K rogues based in the United Kingdom. The ISI felt that Gurpatwant Panun's referendum agenda was also failing to gather much momentum or support on ground. So what happened is the ISI reached out to some of these K-rogue elements based in the United Kingdom, and they identified this man who was plying his wares at a truck company or a transport company in Dubai, and they identified him for ground zero operations. What was Amritpal told? The Pak ISI got in touch with these K elements. These K entities went and told Amritpal that Sikhi or Sikhism is in danger in India. They led him to believe, an educated youngster but a little wayward in his ways, that he has the opportunity to go and take control and revive Sikhi and save Sikhi in India, which was under attack. That was what was told to him. The ISI wanted to revive this entire Bhindranwale move, but this is how they wanted to coach. This is what we are given to understand. Intel sources are telling us that Amritpal was told about the need to revive Sikhi and how he could do it and how he would receive all the help from these elements if he chose to go back to Punjab, go back to India and do it. We are given to understand that Amritpal Singh himself is abusing Pakistan. So he's got no love for Pakistan or for the enemy. He for till now was believing that he is doing something to help revive Sikhism in India by talking about these issues, not realizing the machinations of the enemy. He says he's been abusing Pakistan. Pakistan now, this is what sources are telling us. Overall, this is the agenda of the enemy. Pick out youth, youngsters, people born post-84, spin a narrative about the 84 Sikh massacre in such a way to say that Sikhs are leaving the country and settling abroad. Sikhs are a small number and not getting enough representation. Sikhs are in trouble and Punjab is being rid of Sikhs. And Sikhism is in danger from various aspects. So you have to ensure that there is a separate land for Sikhs so that Sikhism survives and Sikhs survive. This is the narrative being put. So this false narrative is being pushed. So what happened after Amritpal got arrested? Intelligence sources telling our investigations editor Manoj Gupta that during the transit and the conversation which was happening at that time, Amritpal has actually abused Pakistan and told them that he knows about the situation of minorities and Muslims in Pakistan. Sources telling News18 that during these 35 days when Amritpal was missing, his family was actually meeting officials multiple times, in touch with them. Sources say that Amritpal's wife also sent a message to Khanda, Avatar Singh Khanda, who was Amritpal's handler, that he will be held responsible if anything happens to Amritpal. The family will openly hold him responsible. The wife also alleging that Avatar Singh Khanda misled Amritpal. Sources say that during the flight from Bhatinda to Assam in that AN-32, which was known for its bumpy rides, he actually puked, he vomited out of fear, uneasiness, multiple aspects, which show that he is not a hardened, radicalized man like Riaz Bhatkal or some of the others. Agencies are now actually probing Amritpal's funding and his handlers. With Amritpal in custody, the centre is now focusing the attention on trying to ensure there can be a noose that can be tightened around these pro-K groups operating on foreign soil. News 18 has further information that there is engagement and there is an effort to try and do a massive crackdown on all these K puppets propped up by the enemy, and that there is information we have here at News 18 that India is expecting some action to be seen, especially against those who have vandalized our consulate, our Indian property, attacked temples, and the inaction against these outfits have been raised at multiple fora with these nations. Also, we are given to understand and information that an NIA team will soon visit London and meet officials to probe the attack on the Indian High Commission. India's External Intelligence Agency has also been asked to prepare a dossier on pro-Khalistan entities, and the Internal Intelligence Agency meanwhile is working on establishing a link between local support in Pakistan and pro-Khalistani entities abroad. Sources have said that the investigation will look at ground handlers supporting the Khalistani agenda from India. But what stands out, ladies and gentlemen, is how deep the rot runs in terms of the narrative and how well they de-link their real agenda, prop up the agenda which they think will work on ground, and then they are misguiding youth. Ramnik Maan, activist with us, Shashikant, former DG Punjab, and also Puneet Sahani, activist with us. Namaste and Jai Hind, gentlemen. Thank you very much for your time. Puneet Sahani, you had called this out. You had called out that the language, one of the things that you had called out in your when you put out on social media, is that Amritpal was also a very smart guy. His language and his tone and what his narrative is when he's speaking in English is different. When he moves into Punjabi, it's different. So he's catering to two different audiences. The other aspect is of this targeting, that an Amritpal is a soft target. It's a false narrative that is spun, and these people are made to think that Sikhi and Sikhs are in danger in India.
So, Namaste, Anand Bhai, Jai Ma Bharti. So, there are a few points. Now, first of all, it's not false narrative. These are just like psychopathic liars. So, for example, now I was listening to this 2-minute speech. I think it was 100-second speech that he gave before he surrendered to the police. Now, in that 100-second in Punjabi, anybody can listen. You know what he's saying? I counted, it was 6 or 7 times. He said in this 1 month while I was away, he was justifying why he was running around like a dog and why he surrendered now. He says 6-7 times that, the government had unleashed a great repression of Sikhs. Now, imagine what kind of a conversation you can have with such deranged and such filthy liars. What repression has happened to the Sikhs? Ramnik Bhai is sitting here, everybody is sitting here, everybody is doing it. Sikhs are the most, beloved and thriving community here. Now, if somebody is saying nonsense like that, what kind of argument you can have? And I will just make a salient point. So, what you say, about very few, Sikhs are involved. All this is true, Anandji, and this is also I'm bringing out. But there is another perspective to it. The thing is, it's not how many, Sikhs support Khalistan or not. Almost nobody supports it. But the question is, can a few number of Sikhs who are radicalized and the government who doesn't, deal with them firmly, can they create a havoc or not? This is what happened in Punjab. You will be surprised, even after Blue Star, there was not a large support amongst the Sikhs against for Khalistan. I'll tell you, the main guy of Bhindranwale was Amritpal Singh. He lost the Gurdwara election. They can't even win a Gurdwara election. From Moga, he lost from Jeevan Singh Ji Ungraonkar. When they did a sociological study of Punjab, then they asked people, why had you joined the Khalistan movement? So the people who had joined for Bhindrawale, for Khalistan, for Delhi 84, for Blue Star, all these people together, they were hardly 10%. And 40 people have joined Shokiya Tor se. This was the reason they had given in sociological study that had been done by 3 very reputed sociologists of Guru Nanak Dev University, that they had joined for looting, they had joined for rape, and because they lived for less than 1 year. But in that 1 year, they committed 50 rapes. So they did not even have support then. But you see what the havoc was unleashed in Punjab. And more than, 22,000 Punjabis were killed. Because, we didn't manage this issue properly. So as much as I accept this point that only it's a small fringe, but it's a small fringe, and if we don't manage it correctly, it doesn't mean it can create a havoc for the entire country.
Point well made, Puneetji. Let me just bring in Ramnik and Shashikant ji. Ramnik ji, before I get into the narrative aspect with Shashikant ji, the post-84, using the 84 massacre as a narrative to try and spin a different story altogether abroad. This is a narrative game. Now we are given to understand, Amritpal may know a lot of things or may not know a lot of things, but right now what we are given to understand that he was made to believe that what he is doing is in the interest of Sikhi, to save it, to revive it.
Okay, Sat Shri Akal, Namaste, Jai Hind, Anand.
Ji.
See, Anand, I would, want to tread with caution when it comes to Amritpal. To be honest, I mean, he's been demanding Khalistan on Indian soil. This is the first time this has happened. Even Bhindrawale didn't ask for Khalistan. He said, in chaste Punjabi, Bibi, je tu de dengi ta le lange si mangde nahi. In the sense, if you offer us, if you give us Khalistan, we'll take it, we don't demand it. So this is the first time somebody on Indian soil demanded Khalistan. That is one. Number two, why I say conclusively that he is a Pakistani implanted stooge or an agent is because he's never demanded Khalistan on the Pakistan side of Punjab. He's never asked for Kartarpur Sahib, he's never asked for Nankana Sahib, Punjab Sahib. He's never discussed the Khalistan or the Khalsa Raj that he talks about on the west of the Radcliffe line. That is true. Third, when it comes to protection of Sikhs, Sikhs needed protection in Afghanistan, he never stood for it. Sikhs still need protection in Pakistan, he's never spoken a word about it. Sikhs in Iran, in Iraq, they have never spoken about it. There were affluent Sikh families in Iran, by the way. And Sikhs in Africa are still very affluent. That whether it is Uganda or Kenya or East Africa, Sikhs are doing very well in business in other areas, in other spheres. I mean, this is how it is really. And this man would come out on Indian soil and tell people like me or people like Puneet that, Asi Galam, Sikhs are slaves in India. I mean, how dare he say that? This is my land, this is my country, this is my territory. So somebody who's been brainwashed comes around, he talks about Khalistan on the Indian side of Punjab, not on the Pakistani side of Punjab. There is no discount that we could or we should give him. That is number two. Number three. Now, as far as his brainwashing is concerned, of course he's brainwashed. And it's not just brainwashed. He also gets benefited financially. He's made a lot of money. That is evident from the accounts. That is evident from the way he is actually enjoying luxuries while he talks about secessionism in India. So he's getting what he deserves. I feel that, he must get a fair trial as per the Indian constitution, and he should be punished for secessionism and trying to breed discontent and disharmony amongst Hindus and Sikhs. He's always tried to, he was very well rehearsed with his agendas and topics. Mass conversions of Sikhs in Punjab, yes, it is a problem. Unemployment in Punjab, yes, it is a problem. And, apart from conversion, unemployment, the drug menace in Punjab, yes, it is a problem. But those are problems which are political in nature. You don't need a separate country to deal with them.
Correct.
And you, on one hand, discuss about drug menace, and the other hand, you use a drug suppliers or somebody who's been accused of being a part of the narco terror. You use his vehicles, you're using his money. And, don't even ask me, Anand, about the drug rehabilitation camps that he was running. He had no doctors. And, the kind of inhuman condition people were going through and how they were being radicalized, how they got weapons, how they got advanced sophisticated wireless sets, how they got those bulletproof jackets. He was in preparation of a very different nature of war within India. So I'll not discount him. as somebody who's been purely brainwashed and nothing else. He's not innocent, to be very honest.
So you're trying to say that you cannot buy this aspect that he is just a puppet and he did not know and he's been played along and he's been played. He knew what he was getting into, he was benefiting from it, profiting from it, and there are ulterior aspects which point to the fact that he knew. But Shashikant ji, this guy is a weakling. For somebody to puke it all out, puke his guts out in the flight because he couldn't handle it, and for the way he's been behaving right now, soon that he's been caught, and he has had to surrender. He's given himself up.
Yeah, in the intelligence parlor, when this kind of stupid operations are launched, like the one which was launched by Pakistan, Khanda and Pannu, etc., they are just nothing but their mouthpieces of the ISI. And again, having said it, Kathmandu and Dubai remain the major hubs of the ISI presence. ISI has overseas, big overseas stations out there. They identified this person, and look at what happened. It is clear that the entire so-called short-term operation by the ISI through Khanda or Pannu or whatever that might be, it was being very closely monitored, or maybe I can use the word choreographed. Funds were being pushed into, everything was there. And I was listening to the gentlemen who were talking before me. Yes, I fully agree, like I have said, that whenever you launch an operation, this kind of deep infiltration, whether for short-term or long-term, you have to find a weakling, because weaklings can be brainwashed very easily. If a person has some sense in his head, then you know that's difficult to brainwash him, number one. And secondly, I say that this entire, he was here for 6-7 months, and in 6-7 months, certainly he indulged in so much of there was so much of upheavals, there was so much of panic, which was not there in that sense even in 84. 84 we were talking about. Why the terrorist militants lost? Because a good chunk, major chunk of Punjabi population had turned against them, like my predecessor was saying, that my gentleman who spoke before me was saying that this person has started extorting money, raping, and all those sort of things. So they lost sympathy. And this particular incident of this person clearly shows that in Punjab there is no such thing as a demand for Khalistan. Had it been there, at least 1 or 2 persons would have spoken in his favor. Nobody's talking about him. And yes, the persons he took out to, whether it's Ajnala or whatever, they were the persons who were being, again, as brainwashed. The persons who were on drugs, they are also weaklings. He was brainwashing them. Like, it's obvious that he was trying to get bulletproof vests and all those things in his so-called camps to de-addict them. Basically, he was indoctrinating them. Same, he was a weakling. He had identified a substantial number of other weaklings, and they were very scientifically, they were trying to motivate them and to sort of brainwash them to indulge into all these activities. And having said this thing, I'll say that this 35 days, okay, ultimately this person has been arrested. But this is not the end. This is the beginning now. Because for 35 days, he was hiding somewhere. Somebody was feeding him. Somebody was giving him money. Somebody was supporting him. Now, these guys have to be identified, because these are exactly what in our language we call sleeper cells. And these sleeper cells, at the behest of their masters sitting in Pakistan and all those places, sometimes they attack a courthouse in Ludhiana, or they try to carry some explosive in the court in Karnal and all sorts of things. Now the task starts. I hope that the Punjab government, with the help of central agencies, they try to unearth the entire network which has been lying there. Unfortunately, since 84, no attempt has been made to unearth these elements, these sleeper cells, who are getting drugs, who are getting money, who are getting explosives through drones. The other day only a damaged drone was recovered, lots of ammunition was recovered. So this is the time when these agencies, instead of sort of patting their backs, pat your backs, but get to the
they have taken,
that is to identify.
Sir, they have taken.
Thank you.
Sir, you've put some matters in perspective. I'm just going to bring in Puneet. Puneet, there are many who are watching this broadcast who are also saying this does not end here. This is just the tip of the iceberg, or one cog in the entire wheel. The entire wheel needs to be dismantled, and that's the larger challenge, because there are those who have already bought into this narrative and who are feeding it.
No, Anandji, please. Like the thing is, you deal with firmly. Actually, I'll tell you very like if you read what was happening in 1991 and 1990, this was the worst period of militancy, where on an average more than 5,000 people were being killed. And when they saw what was happening, if you read the most senior people of the security establishment, I think it was Mr. D.P. Sharma, if you read his book, they were making the argument that resolve, nothing can happen, everything is lost. This is what all the journalists were writing. But when Mr. Gill came and he showed some courage and clarity and resolve, nobody imagined that in 6 months all this Khalistani militancy will die down when it was so bad. So we just have to show right now, the government is not clear that yes, this is a problem. We understand it. We are not going to, make any negotiation, and we will deal with them firmly. Then everybody would come out and speak against them. If they see the government, is going to, placate them and something, then nobody's mad because these people are wild, these people are violent, and other people are decent family people. They will never come in support if they think the government has no clarity or, courage to take them on. That is point number one. The second thing is you said weakling. Oh, bhai, all of them are a weakling. Deep Sidhu, who was saying that we have done this Red Fort. You find this video when the police was after him, he was running for a month and he was crying like a little girl. I'm not exaggerating. You can find videos, and Deep Sidhu is a leader. Bhindranwale, they don't know, this was not the first time that he had hidden the Gurdwara. This was the third time. When Black Thunder happened, Mark Tully is still alive. If you read his, the Khalistanis used to say, we will do this, the government should come and do that. When, they did Black Thunder, these people, and by the way, they had cyanide in their thing. So if they had honor, they could have chewed it. These people got inside the Golden Temple and they defecated inside the sanctum sanctorum, these Khalistanis. And when they came out, for example, there was one guy, a very famous militant, Kara Singh Thande. He did not take the cyanide when he was inside the temple. He defecated inside. But when he came out and he saw the police identified him, he quickly ate the cyanide. So these are the cowards of the largest, you can't even imagine. But you have to show that you're a coward. If you don't show that you have, these people will, dance on your head. And one point I will make is I'll give you a history. Like, for example, this guy was found from Bhindranwale Gurdwara. First of all, if you read SGPC, is it allowed to make a Gurdwara in name of Bhindranwale? If you, nobody has read it. But if you actually read, when SGPC is a British creation. At that time, the Gurdwaras were called Dharamsal. So they are still called Dharamsal, where Afghani Sikhs live, for example, because it's out of Punjab. I'm telling you a very important bit of history. So when SGPC had to capture all these Gurdwaras, they made the case Gurdwara is only a place where it is associated with the Sikh Gurus, the 10 Sikh Gurus, or where the Granth Sahib has been established. If we don't make it for any person, and now they have made a Gurdwara for Bhindranwale, which is completely against what they had presented when they were being formed. And who was this Bhindranwale? Bhindranwale said that every Hindu should kill, every Sikh should kill 35 Hindus, and 2 Sikhs in every village take a motorbike and take a pistol and get on the job, and people started killing. He used this caste slur for a prime minister. He called her a Bamani, and a caste slur for, our Ramgarhia president, who was Jarnail Singh. He called it a Gulligan. This was the guy. He said, if you don't release my bus, I will kill 5,000. I will chop 5,000 Hindus to pieces in 1 hour. This is a man so vile and so vicious and so evil. And first they have made him a saint, and now they have made a Gurdwara out of him. This is the biggest blasphemy. Not this little girl who has gone and then you have made the entire propaganda. You read what is the SGPC history. You can't make a Gurdwara on any person, but they are making on this person who was the most vile,
not only making
vicious, deranged, evil.
You make a very strong point there, Puneet, and it's based on hard fact. And this fact is not very palatable to certain people. When you ask some of these hard questions to the SGPC, they then turn to become aggressive on you and then try and accuse you of beadbi. That's what's happening, Ramnik Man. The SGPC had found its voice to speak on Amritpal's wife, but did not find a voice to speak on the girl who had the tiranga on her cheeks. The SGPC took more than 48 hours to even take action against that Sevadar who was standing there and was saying this is Punjab and this is not India. Somewhere something is going wrong. They were so muted in the way he took the Palki Sahib and behind it stormed into a police station. Somewhere something is wrong. Are the custodians themselves now corrupted in their thoughts? And are they moving from the ideals and the tenets of Sikhi itself?
They always were. They always were corrupted in their minds and their thoughts. See, for them, pardon me for saying this, I'm saying it out aloud. For them, Gurdwara Sahibs are more like showrooms, they need to, collect money from, and then they misappropriate those funds. And then that money is also siphoned off towards the political, organization called Shiromani Akali Dal Badal. So SGPC and the Shiromani Akali Dal Badal, they have the same cadre. One day they could become a president of the SGPC, the other they will contest election on Badal ticket and they will become a minister in the government. So they have the same cadre, but the inter-organizational cadre is the same. And the entire agenda has been to pollute the minds of Sikhs over the period of years. And I would put the blame centrally on the Shiromani Gurdwara Prabandhak Committee for maximum failures to protect Sikhi and to protect Sikhs. I mean, can you imagine, in the past 20 years, the population of Sikhs in Punjab has fallen good 11%. 11% fallen Sikh population in Punjab, and SGPC has not taken cognizance. As a matter of fact, there was one time when the SGPC president was asked this question, and in reply, the journalist got the answer कि नहीं, there are no conversions happening. Sikhan di koi conversion nahi ho sakdi. So I mean, they are in complete state of denial. And the diminishing values, the diminishing tenets of Sikhi, I would pin the blame on the Badals for taking over the SGPC, which is a holy institution, and corrupting it thoroughly. It was of course, for a very different purpose. But then again, this is completely defeated, and I laud that, the Haryana Sikhs have a different committee, the Delhi Sikhs have a different committee, the Patna and Nanded Sahib Sikhs have a different committee. Now they run their affairs hopefully better than the SGPC. But again, coming back to the point, Anand, 84 and 2023 are almost 40 years apart. It's a very different time now. We are in the age of social media. We saw Amritpal being built up over a period of 6 months. And one bad move, one wrong move, the Ajnala incident, where he took Palki Sahib or Gurgan Sahib Prakash inside the police station, which was not taken well, and that brought him down. That was his downfall. But again, not to forget, the Shiromani Gurdwara Prabandhak Committee has not yet been able to say or come out clear whether it was Beadbi or not. Sacrileges, even today in Gurdwara Kotwali Sahib in Morinda, it is on camera that there has been sacrilege which has been committed by one person inside the Gurdwara, inside the Gurukar. So I don't know, I mean, they pick and choose, they are very selective in their outrage.
The moment
they would say that Kirandeep Kaur, wife of Amritpal, should not have been stopped. They would say, let me, Anand, please. They would say that we will give legal aid to the people who've been arrested. They sent a jatha to Dibrugarh to, try and defend these people who've been accused under NSA. So, on an odd day, they would say they will defend, people involved in the NSA. On an even day, they will say that, no, we believe in the unity of India. We believe that Punjab is a part of India. On another day, they will not allow a girl with a tricolor on her face. And then on another day, they will defend, Amritpal's wife. I mean, they don't have a stand. That's the problem with the SGPC.
Whether they have,
and they should take a firm stand. They should spell out very clearly what Maryada is,
and not just that.
What is not
the affairs of those who are calling the shots. Should that not be put under? Should that not be put under? Should that not be put under scrutiny? No. Then the Sikhs need to take control of what is happening, because what they are doing, the actions of a few, is tarnishing the image of perhaps one of the purest causes.
It is an act of the parliament,
the teaching of the 10.
Anand, it is an act of the parliament.
The teaching of the 10. The teachings of the 10 gurus.
Either we come up with the All India Gurdwara Act. Anand, my brief submission is, Anand, either we come up with the All India Gurdwara Act, which has been promised. Let's come up with the All India Gurdwara Act. Let people from all across, Sikhs from all across India represent, and not just from one particular state or one particular caste represent Sikhs.
Right.
So let them come from all over India and, take decisions for the Sikhs of this country and abroad.
Right. Thank you for your inputs. I think point well made.